a new study supports the idea, claiming it can help reduce your risk of Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's researchers say people who participate in a lot of cognitive activities such as reading books, working on crossword puzzles, and going to museums have a 47% less likely chance of developing Alzheimer's compared to people with lower levels of cognitive participation. The researchers believe it could have something to do with keeping those parts of the brain in shape. Tourette syndrome is a disorder that's often identified with inappropriate outbursts and sudden jerking movements. But one Shreveport Middle School PE teacher says that's just not the case. Mark Weldon has had Tourette syndrome since he was a child, and it hasn't kept him from living a full and successful life. Now, Weldon wants more people to understand what it's really like to have TS.
Imagine if you have a mosquito bite on your arm. Boy, you scratch it, and it stops itching. And well, a minute or so later, guess what? It's going to start itching again.
We'll hear more from Mark and his family in a special report, The Truth About Tourette, tonight on News 12 at 10.
Once again, referring to the sonogram, the consensus among the medical community is
Absolutely.
Do it. Keep on
doing it, because there's certainly no harm in doing it. And these, again, the scientific reliability of that meta-analysis is really important.
We'll have the answer coming up.
Hello, I'm Michelle White. The good times are on a roll at a special Fat Tuesday gathering in downtown Shreveport.
And the truth about Tourette. And a special News 12 report, an Arklithek's gym teacher wants you to know what Tourette syndrome really is.
From KSLA TV 12, coverage you can count on. This is News 12 at 10.
A group of contractors says Hollywood Casino Hotel owes them millions of dollars.
Tonight, about a dozen business owners appealed to the city council to step in and help. News 12's Nordia Higgins is live outside Hollywood right now with more on this story. Nordia, how much do these contractors say Hollywood owes them?
About $4 million, Carl. These contractors say that it's been 14 months since they helped to build all this, and still they haven't been paid.
The Hollywood Casino Hotel has been up and running for more than a year now, and millions of dollars has been rolling in. That's thanks in part to local contractors like Raymond Hill.
We perform work at Hollywood Casino. We provided air conditioning equipment. In fact, I understand that equipment is being utilized on a day-to-day basis.
But 14 months after the casino has opened, more than a dozen contractors say they haven't been paid for their work.
They are keeping their customers comfortable from our sweat equity into that, and yet we have not been paid. We're not a large company. We do need to have those funds owed to us to help us to continue our business.
So the contractors are appealing to Shreveport City Council for help. They say they stand to lose big if they're not paid soon.
We are faced with possible layoffs. We're also faced with obtaining financing for the substantial amount of money that we are owed.
Jim Wise, a spokesman for Hollywood Casino, says we have complied with all the obligations to Broadmoor Roy Anderson, who's the general contractor. The subcontractors have no agreement of any kind with Hollywood Casino. Subcontractor agreements are solely with the general contractor, and that's obviously where their beef lies at this time. Wise also says Hollywood has filed suit against Broadmoor Roy Anderson, the general contractor. But local businessmen like Raymond Hill says they can't wait for that suit to be resolved.
I took the project as a contractor, not as a financier, and I feel that after 14 months and have not been paid, I don't want to be a financier. I want to be paid for the contracting work that we did there.
We were unable to get in touch with the general contractor, Broadmoor Roy Anderson, and city council members tonight said that they are going to do all they can to help these contractors get paid, Carl.
Well, Nordia, where exactly could the city council fit into this? It sounds like more of a dispute between the contractors and Hollywood directly.
Well, the city leased this land to Hollywood to build a casino, and the city also encouraged minority contractors to get involved with the project. And so these contractors are hoping that the city will use its influence to help them get the money they say they're owed.
Nordia Higgins live. Keep us posted.
The town of Odessa in North Louisiana remains in shock tonight after a brutal murder and robbery. Caddo deputies say 2 men held up the Magnolia Clubhouse off Highway 1. Investigators say one of the men then shot and killed 51-year-old Kathy Baker. People at the store say they tried to prevent something like this from happening, especially after similar murders in nearby Houston.
When the killings was over at Austin, of course, we got everybody together and we told them, we've got to be careful, try to, pay attention to people coming in the door.
This is surveillance video of last night's holdup. You see a man with what appears to be a shotgun and another shorter man. If you have any information that can help solve this case, call the sheriff's office. Here's an update to a murder case News 12 has been following in Houston. 3 people were indicted today by the Caddo Parish Grand Jury on 2 counts of first-degree murder each. 17-year-old cousins Lamarcus and DeMarcus Morris and a juvenile are accused of killing Strickland's grocery store owner Cindy Watson Rangel and her cousin Alan Bounds.
Rescue workers are continuing their search along Toledo Bend Reservoir. They're looking for a fisherman who's been missing since Saturday. This morning, rescuers recovered the body of Doug Bailey. His friend, Lester Nicholsver, remains missing this evening. The two made a cell phone call for help Saturday morning when Bailey's boat apparently began taking on water. Sabine County Sheriff's deputies in Texas began looking around the lake for the pair soon after that, but were unable to pinpoint their exact location.
Shreveport police continue their crackdown on illegal drugs. In their latest roundup, thousands of dollars in drugs and drug proceeds were found at a house in the 2600 block of Murray. Included in the seizure, more than 5,000 grams of marijuana, 2 cars, and about $3,200 in cash. Police arrested 23-year-old Antonio Evans and 21-year-old Natasha Roberts, both of Shreveport. They face multiple drug-related charges tonight. The Shreveport Police Department went door-to-door today in an effort to help curb crime. The officers knocked on doors and met with neighbors face-to-face concerning any crime-related problems they may be encountering. Each patrol officer also leaves his phone number and an information sheet on how to report any suspicious activity in the neighborhood. Today's visits were based on a similar program that took place in Shreveport's Lakeside neighborhood last month.
An Atlanta, Texas police officer on patrol early this morning suddenly found himself doubling as an obstetrician. While driving down Louise Street, a block from Atlanta Memorial Hospital, Officer Ernest Cutchall noticed a car on the side of the road with its hazard light flashing. He turned his car around to investigate.
The lady was laying on her back right here, and her knees were down here. And I squeezed her hand, but I'm here to help her. I got down on my knees, and when that baby came out, I caught it in both hands. And it happened within a minute.
A proud mother, LaTanya Oliver of Springdale, Texas, says she can't thank the officer enough. Her little baby girl, Angelica, weighed in at 6 pounds, 10.5 ounces.
As carnival season comes to an end, a huge Fat Tuesday celebration in the Crescent City today. A festive atmosphere filled the French Quarter in New Orleans as revelers gathered to party in true Mardi Gras style. Extra security measures have been put into place to help ensure a good time for all. The carnival season ends tonight at midnight. Ash Wednesday, which is tomorrow, begins the Catholic observance of Lent, dedicated to repentance and fasting in preparation for Easter. As Mardi Gras 2002 comes to a close, one last party is still going on at Festival Plaza in Shreveport. The 3rd annual Upstate celebration features all those last-minute treats for those who haven't yet gotten their Mardi Gras fill. Now, as you can see from our live downtown sky cam, the festivities continue at this hour. Not too many people. News 12's Russ Thomas has more.
Welcome to Upstate 2002.
This is the party to end all parties. Mardi Gras parties, that is. All the ingredients for a fun Fat Tuesday.
What we expect to have here is a lot of food, fun, festivity.
To help ensure a good time, floats, games for kids, and live bands are all a part of the Mardi Gras Upstate celebration celebrated here in Shreveport. After rain and cold weather kept the crowds to a minimum last year, organizers were glad Mother Nature cooperated with this year's festivities.
The first year we had it, the crowd was probably 3,000 people.
Thanks to visitors like Donna Backus, early indications showed this was going to be a great night.
I'm from Pottsboro, Texas. Came down this weekend for the Mardi Gras festivities, and my main thing was to get the Mardi Gras beads.
For 3rd grader Cody Cowan of Bel Air Elementary, it was a night to enjoy the atmosphere and celebrate her nomination as Mardi Gras Queen.
We had a little assembly and a party, parade, and we just got to rock around and throw beads.
And Mardi Gras 2002 will close out with one last celebration on the Texas Street Bridge starting at 11 p.m. tonight.
We're having our final toast of the Mardi Gras season, and we're going to get ready for Lent for tomorrow.
In Festival Plaza, Russ Thomas, News 12.
It was Fat Tuesday celebration in grand style at the oldest Mardi Gras celebration in the nation today. Thousands of spectators lined the streets of downtown Mobile, Alabama, all in search of some tossed beads and moon pies in Mobile. Decorated floats and some festive costumes highlighted the celebration in the place where Mardi Gras actually began. Let's take a look once again. This is a live shot of Bourbon Street, downtown New Orleans, the heart of the French Quarter, where you can see in stark contrast to the sparse crowd in downtown Shreveport. The crowd is what you would expect on Bourbon Street on this countdown to Lent. The revelry, the debauchery, the hedonism that is Bourbon Street on Mardi Gras Day continues. Michelle, it lasts for about another hour and 45 minutes.
And you were just there. You were there.
I was there, not down in that crowd. Thankfully, I was above it. I had a chance to see it from above. And that's about as close as I wanted to get. Little guy like me can get hurt down there.
No.
Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder that is often identified with inappropriate outbursts and sudden jerking movements.
But a Shreveport middle school teacher says that's just not the case. We will show you in a special report ahead on News 12 at 10.
Around here, the biggest month of the year is February. It's Team Dodge Truck Month, where you can get an all-new Ram Quad Cab, Dakota, or Durango and grab Dodge's 7100 powertrain pledge. Plus, up to $2,500 cash allowance. Great products, great protection, great value. That's the Dodge Edge during the Team Dodge Truck Month at Truckville, Texas, which just happens to be your Texas Dodge dealer.
See over 300 boats at Reeves Marina, the Sports Mall. You'll buy this SX170 Skeeter for $13,999 or $174 a month with a 90 horsepower oil injection Yamaha Skeeter trailer, troll motor. It's lake ready for $13,999 or $174 a month. Your Skeeter and Yamaha dealer in Shreveport. And don't forget, Reeves Marine.
Next, please. Next, please. Next, please.
That's you, lady.
Oh, withdrawal or deposit? Deposit.
You want my autograph on that, don't you?
Last night on The Late Show, Dave welcomed superstar Janet Jackson.
Do you need help with the zipper?
Catch an all-new Late Show tonight.
Coverage you can count on. News 12 with Michelle White, Carl Pendley, Patrick Dennis, and Bob Griffin. From KSLA TV 12, this is News 12 at 10.
He's living with a disorder that doctors can't quite explain, and even fewer people really understand.
But Mark Weldon is living proof that the syndrome that most people associate with mental illness or inappropriate behavior is not a social death sentence. Here's News 12's health reporter Carolyn Roy with tonight's special report, The Truth About Tourette.
You wouldn't know it by looking at him. But Southfield Middle School PE teacher Mark Weldon has Tourette syndrome.
Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving.
The signs began showing around the age of 10,
This is a picture of Mark right after he was diagnosed.
starting with an odd little jerk of the arm.
And he went from there, from kind of jerking his arm to sometimes shaking his head, and then he would blink his eyes. And
The symptoms became more and more pronounced.
one morning, he woke up and began making a low vocal noise, kind of like a very loud vocal noise. It really was.
A very high-pitched, almost barking noise, like a seal almost.
And he was scared to death because he couldn't stop.
And they would say, stop making that noise, or stop doing your nose like that.
The Weldons thought their son had an attitude problem.
Began to be war our will. And, I mean, we've sent him from the table, we've punished him, we've done all these kind of things, but we're sorry about now.
I think initially they thought I was just being, not bad, but just trying to push the limits and not do what I was told and stuff.
When they realized there was more to their son's behavior than childhood willfulness, they went in search of answers and finally found them in Tourette syndrome.
It changed everything to the point that we could put a name to it and realized that he couldn't control what he was, the actions and the movements and the voices and the noises.
And so at that moment, I can remember feeling like just a big weight was lifted off my shoulders because it wasn't me anymore. It was this thing, this Tourette thing.
LSU neurologist Dr. Richard Zwag says Tourette syndrome is believed to be caused by abnormal functioning of circuits within an area of the brain called the basal ganglia. And although it can't be diagnosed by looking at a brain scan,
the combination of the verbal tics or vocalizations with the movements that make Tourette syndrome.
the symptoms are easy enough to spot, but they're not so easy to stop.
Imagine if you have a mosquito bite on your arm. Boy, you scratch it, and it stops itching. And well, a minute or so later, guess what? It's going to start itching again.
Today, Mark still has some symptoms.
Mine are mostly with my face, all my eyes, or of course my nose, or something like that.
Medication helps keep most of them under control, and the Weldons know a lot more, but they feel the rest of the world is way behind.
Most people who don't have a clue what Tourette is.
What's worse, they say, is what people think it is.
It seems like they always show the worst case scenario they can find of somebody who's completely unable to function in society. I mean, they're, for lack of a better word, condemned to government assistance. They can't keep a job and all that stuff, and I get so frustrated.
The person who utters the obscenities, the person who jumps up and down and crows like a rooster, this kind of stuff.
Mark Weldon wants the world to see the true face of Tourette.
Good job! Good job! Good job!
A face like his, one he says he wouldn't change for the world, tics and all.
It's one of those that you change the past, you change today, and I'm so happy with who I am today that I don't know that I'd want to risk changing what I've got today by going back 20 years and snapping my fingers and taking it away.
In Shreveport, Carolyn Roy, News 12.
Research on Tourette syndrome is ongoing, but it's still considered a relatively new field. It is estimated that the neurological disorder strikes roughly 1 in 1,000 children, usually between the ages of 6 and 9, but it can occur as late as age 21. For more information on Tourette syndrome, log on to our website at ksla.com and click on Health.
Taking a look at News 12 in depth tonight, the FBI remains focused on the whereabouts of a suspected terrorist. They're on the lookout for this man, Fawaz Yahya al-Rabi. He's a Yemeni national born in Saudi Arabia. Now, Rabi and his associates are thought to have been planning a strike against the United States or U.S. interests in Yemen sometime over the coming days. Now, while no specific targets or methods are known, the FBI has urged law enforcement agencies and the public to keep a close eye out for anything suspicious.